So I turned 41 this year, and getting older has been strange, especially since the internet got a hold of someone I consider to be my dream brother, Garfield. What I'm talking about is Creepy Garfield art. And if you haven't seen it, it's a series of cartoons featuring Garfield as a monster stalking John. It's mostly like sci-fi and like body horror stuff, like real Cronenberg style cartoons. Like my friends will post this dark Garfield art on my wall, and I do appreciate it. I love to see all of Garfield's incarnations, even the upsetting ones. There's even a subreddit for Creepy Garfield art called r/I'm sorry, John. Me too, I'm sorry, John. So like, you know, picture like a bloated Garfield the size of a star pouring the dark light of his essence directly into John's eyes. And John saying like, I can see forever and it's bad. Or like, Garfield is one of the monsters from Annihilation with like tentacles coming out of his face, and the caption is like, this lasagna recipe requires your DNA, John. Just like straight up, you know, fucking... Now I've seen a lot of Garfields in my 41 years on this earth. I've seen sparkling, blingy Garfield that says, oh damn, it's Monday. I've seen pregnant Garfield holding his belly while a proud Sonic looks on. Google it. The producers of the new Sonic movie are cowards for not putting that in. I've seen Garfield minus Garfield, the premise of which is that Garfield is not there. Like they snapped Garfield out of existence like Thanos, like Heathcliff got the Infinity Stones. Garfield is really like CBD oil. You can put him in anything and it kind of works. But I just don't know about this new Cthulhu, world-devouring version of America's favorite Orange Tabby. And not to sound like back in my day we had nice Garfield, but when I was a kid, Garfield was a positive presence in my life. Garfield was created the same year I was born, 1978. I think the fact that we both came into the world around the same time made me feel like I had a connection to him as a character. A love of Garfield was the only thing my childhood enemy Byron Henderson and I had in common. Byron had a mullet and a ton of Garfield merch. We'd shoot the shit about Garfield, and we'd go out to recess and he'd beat my ass. Garfield could really only do so much conflict resolution. Wasn't able to do the heavy lifting on that one. And when I met my girlfriend Cherry, one of the first things that I really loved about her was her collection of coffee mugs, specifically a glass mug of Garfield rowing a kayak and saying, I'm easy to get along with when things go my way. Thanks, Mike Rowing. And like, that's true, Garfield. I am glad we came on this kayaking trip together, but you're kind of being a bitch. Sorry. And I was already catching feelings for Cherry, but when she started sending me pics holding the Garfield mug, like, I was like, I'm in love, you know? And Garfield didn't steer me wrong because Cherry and I are engaged now. Do I base all my romantic choices on whether Garfield appears like a good omen to bless the relationship? Absolutely. It's like they always say, Garfield appears at True Love's Kiss. And by they, I mean Jim Davis. I think of Garfield as a helpful visitor from the spirit world. It wouldn't surprise me if Garfield has been appearing in different forms throughout the beginning of time, or throughout time, since the beginning of time. You get it, time. Garfield has always been here, just waiting to be born. And Jim Davis has known this since the first time he did DMT. And honestly, it's a little jarring that the Garfield spirit guide that led me to my true love just a few years ago has shape-shifted into an eldritch nightmare now. Hey, Garfield, my old friend. Is that you gnawing on John Arbuckle's bones? It is. Now look, I know I can't control what people do with Garfield, and that spending 41 years in our collective unconsciousness is going to produce some horrifying versions. Garfield has been deep fried for 4 decades in the lasagna pan of our dreams, and if I ever get a Garfield weed tattoo, I know what to write on the bong. I think the form that Garfield takes reflects the times we live in, and obviously things are beyond fucked right now, so we got a fucked up Garfield. It reminds me of the corrupted boar god Nago in Princess Mononoke, who was turned into a demon by an iron ball created by man's destruction of nature. Which leads me to wonder, who will pull the iron ball from Garfield's belly? I think that like all spirits born from the minds of men, he will only be healed when we are healed as well. Or when we pry the infinity gauntlet from Heathcliff's paws. He found it in a junkyard where he lives. Someone left it under an old fishbone in a trash can. It's the Avengers. In the meantime, I'm getting married next year and I couldn't be happier about it. We're doing a Garfield-themed wedding. Cherry will be wearing an orange and black dress. Jim Davis will be officiating. I did not Google to see if Jim Davis is still alive before I wrote this. We're both changing our last name to Arbuckle, and Cherry's going to heave a pan of lasagna at the crowd instead of throwing the bouquet. But if we change our minds, just know that he'll be there in spirit. After all, Garfield is my dream brother. He introduced me to my wife.
Jason Maverick!